How is everyone? Thank you so much for being part of this. My name is Sam Okibanda. I'm always your inspirational coach here to share with you messages around your personal finance, around your business, around your career, basically how to live a fruitful life. So today I came with an interesting topic. I came to share with you something to do with personal finance. Now, a time like this, I know most of us are wondering how can we continue to survive, especially in the area of personal finance says when we in the crisis like this. So I just felt I should share my experience. I should share what I think that somebody should be doing right now. I know it is tough for many people. The fact that we just went abrupt with the lockdown. Many people were caught unaware. People had not planned for this. Many people are really struggling, and I want to stand with whoever is struggling. If may you find a better way to handle your situation. A time like this, when medical bills are going high, a time like this, when government is asking us to boost our immunities, we need to make sure that we eat the right foods. These right foods cost a lot. These whatever we we are consuming right now costs a lot, yet the income is not really coming in. There are people who are working and have lost their jobs at a time like this. There is no salary coming through, and companies are closing. Companies are reducing salaries because of the situation. So, as a person who has some money, you, as a person who wants to make sure that you remain somehow with some control of your personal finance during this time, what are some of the things that you can basically do at a point in time like this, especially about your personal finances? Now, I have my 8 pointers, as you can see right there on the screen. Basically, right now, uh, what you should be able to do as fast as much as possible is the aspect of communication. Talk to your family about your financial status, about how you stand. Do you have some money, or do you have you lost a job? Uh, please communicate to them. Let them know how you stand, because at the end of the day, that will help you manage their expectation. At a time like this is a time where you need to be much open, especially if you're married, if it's maybe you're not married and you're single. You also need to be open to your family. If you're going through some kind of struggles, there are people that you can talk to, your siblings, their parents that you can talk to. Let them know about your situation, because it's only when you tell them about your situation that they really, really understand. So talk to your family about your financial situation and see what exactly can they support you. And also, at the end of the day, also see how you can support each other as a family times like this. If somebody had some savings, maybe a wife had some savings, some of the savings can help you during this time. You don't have to struggle alone. A time like this is a time where we need everyone to stand in for the other. So it's very important for us to uh, rethink about such things of how we can survive during this time. So communication is very key. Sit down as a family, agree on certain kind of things. Which priorities are you making? What are you buying? What are you leaving out? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to run out money when you can actually use the little you have responsibly right now. Because we can't tell where this will really end. So at a point in time like this, it's a point in time for you to get down and be honest about your position and see what exactly can we do at this time. How can we make sure that we still remain with the little that we have to sustain us through the period? Creativity, especially when you're speaking to your spouse or speak to your family people, let them really know. If your family head, like myself, let them know about your financial status, because they will not demand for bread when you cannot provide bread. They will not demand for chicken when you cannot provide chicken. So it's very, very important for you to adopt the aspect of communication right now. Yesterday, I was speaking to a group of young people. They were asking me, how can I continue to provide for my family at this time when I cannot actually provide? So the answer is inform them, let them know that you cannot provide right now, and try to innovatively use the little you have. If you have a garden, go to the garden and get some produce to be able to support you. If you have any way you can creatively get something to eat during this time, it's a very good idea for you. So that is one, the aspect of communication. Then the other is the reassessing your financial outlook and plans. Now, at a time like this, when we are home, some of us are not working because we're not essential workers. Some of we could be working from home. But a time like this is a bright time for you to reassess your own financial outlook. Where do you want to be in terms of your finances? Because, guys, this has kept on happening. This is not the first time we've gone in the lockdown. This is the second time we've gone in the lockdown. So what does this mean to you from your financial status as an individual? Is it something that should make you try to think about certain aspects of your financial health as an individual? Because we can't even tell how the future will look like. So you need to reassess and see, is it realistic? Is myself having only one source of income, is it still realistic in this kind of era and age? My investment, you maybe been doing lots of investments in maybe fixed assets. Is it still really worthy for you to continue investing in these fixed assets? Or you need to make sure that you also have some cash flows that are coming to make sure that you're liquid. Because at a point in time like this, if you have several pieces of land, you may not even find a buyer because people are broke. People don't have money. Even if you find a buyer, you not find a buyer that will give you the best price. But it's because you want to have some kind of cash flow. So a time like this is reassess, make that reflection and see what exactly are you going to improve going forward in terms of your finances. Because we don't want to get into 2022 and there's another lockdown and you're facing the same struggles. It's a time like this to rejuvenate your own status to see what exactly can I do about my status and how can I change this to become a much better person who is creating a financial freedom ahead of yourself. So very important for you, set your financial goal, see what different thing are you going to do. So the other is the adjusting your budget. Now, a time like this, you have to adjust your budget. You cannot spend unless maybe you have a lot of money in the bank account, and this money maybe can sustain you for maybe the next 1 or 2 years. You may not adjust your budget. But if you're somebody who has limited money in the account, money that cannot take you for the next 6 months, somebody was telling me that this time we might actually go for 6 months when we're still in such a time. So you can't tell what exactly will happen the next few months. So you have to adjust your budget. Some of you don't have budgets, but in this case, what I'm trying to mean, adjust your expenditures, adjust on the things that you spend on. And at the end of the day, also plan for your money. Embrace the aspect of budgeting. How much do you have and how are you going to divide it? Because you're not going to go and buy maybe lemons for, let's say, for 20,000 and buy maybe mangoes for this because you want to have fruits at home. When you believe very well that you only have maybe 50,000 in total, and at the end of the day, you also have to get a full meal on that same money. You also have to make sure that you secure something for maybe for your medical expenses, because at a time like this, everyone is getting sick after every minute. So if you get sick the next minute, do you have something that can actually take care of you in terms of finances? So it is very important for you at a point in time like this, adjust your budget to cut your expenditure. If it means making sure that you're only spending on necessities, let it be. And also make sure that every time you're going to buy maybe whatever items they are, make sure that you're doing a lot of budget to make sure that you're allocating your money to only priorities at a time like this, because it's no longer enough for us and you can never know what exactly will really happen. So adjusting your budget is very key. The other is thinking of an alternative source of income. Now, we now totally agree that you can't survive on a single source of income, because a single source of income can be charged just in a minute. And that means that it will be the end for you. So at a time like this is for you to think of what other ways can you make money? What exactly do I have that I can actually get money from? Is it maybe I have land that I can start farming? Is it maybe that maybe I'm skilled in a given skill that I can develop that skill into a business? Is it that I'm passionate onto something and that's something I can turn it into? Or you have certain kind of experience, maybe from your work, that you can actually turn into an alternative source of income. So you can never survive on a single source of income in this kind of era and age. You have to think. I'm one of those ambassadors of who's continue to speak about the aspect of side businesses. Side businesses is the way to go, especially at a time like this. You want to make sure that you still earn something. If that job is gone, especially during this time, it is the only way to survive if you have something, an alternative source of income. So it is very important for you to think about this time and see how can I make some money, extra money. Some of this money, yes, you can actually make it during this time. There are people who have now, one time I was listening to a graduate, somebody did laboratory science, and they had started making pancakes during this time because people need breakfast. People at home, they need breakfast, and somebody is making pancakes, and at the end of the day, they are making a living out of it. Because what can you really do? This time, people are consuming lots of foodstuffs. Get a foodstuff, buy in bulk, sell to other people. At the end of the day, we want to make a living. Doesn't matter what kind of thing are you doing. As long as you're not stealing anyone, as long as it brings a living to you, pursue it. That is how life is. We have to make sure that we follow through on what exactly is happening. Because at the end of the day, what matters is the welfare of our lives, the welfare of our families, to make sure that we can provide to them. So it is very important for us to think about an alternative source of finance. And the other is negotiating with creditors where possible. Now, you could have a landlord who is on your neck. You could have a bank that is on your neck. You could have different people that give you money at a point in time like this. Explain to them, be honest with them, communicate. Don't be a person who does not pick up people's calls during this time because you feel you don't have money. People want to listen to you. People want to know that at the end of the day, you are honest with them and they are hearing from how you progress. They may think you just don't want to pay them. But if you communicate to them and let them know of your financial stand, and you also make promise in regards to when you make the payment, then such people will be able to listen to you and they will be able to wait upon when you actually make the payment. Of course, some of them may not really understand, but those few that will understand will relieve you of the burden at a point in time like this. So I hope this helps you, especially during this time. Then the other is thinking about life and medical insurance. Now, this I'm speaking to people who can actually afford this life and medical insurance. I'll give you an example that during this time, I don't know how many times I've been to the hospital because of several kind of unwellness. But because I'm working for an organization that caters for my medical insurance, I've actually been able to not spend any penny on all those costs, apart from transport, maybe to the medical facilities. And also, it has opened my mind that actually need to embrace the aspect of medical insurance. If you want an organization that provides it, thank God, it's very good for you. If you maybe your business person, you may want to take on dependent options. These insurance companies also welcome people who are individual to take up these medical insurance schemes, because at the end of the day, when you get unwell during this time, it's a lot of expenditure. But when you have some sort of insurance, then you know that you're a bit covered up. You can be able to at least access medical services using that kind of insurance. If you're employed and employer is providing it, utilize it at a point in time. Seek out to them and understand what kind of service can you get just in case you get unwell using this medical insurance. So it's very important for you, as well as the aspect of life insurance. Now, life insurance is also very key for you as an individual, because at the end of the day, in case anything happens, you don't want to leave your family struggling, because at the end of the day, they are your dependents. If you're the breadwinner and you're gone, they need to survive. But also, these life insurance schemes are also very helpful. Recently, I got a letter from one of my insurance companies that I have a policy with. They were saying that during this time, they have come up with an initiative that if you're a member to the insurance scheme, they'll give you in case you get unwell, they'll give you 200,000 per day for the next 30 days. So 200,000 per day for the next 30 days is about 6 million shillings. And these people are committing themselves to actually give you this kind of money. Of course, there are different other based on how much you really contribute to that insurance scheme. But somebody giving you some money during this time of a crisis is something that you cannot take for granted. So I know you might have interfaced some people asking you, please sign up for such policies. Maybe it's with UAP, maybe it's with GoodSave, Prudential. Now, these may seem like things that you don't need, but you may need them one time. You need them one time. Just a premium that you contribute. For example, myself, I'm contributing about 200,000 on a monthly basis to my life insurance. But it's something that I've gotten used to, and I know that at the end of the time that I've signed up, I can even be given this money and maybe utilize it for other things. But just in case anything happens during this time, at least my family can have a starting point. So it's very important for you to think about that. Then the other is the aspect of building an emergency fund. Yes, emergency fund is very, very, very important for you, especially during this time, because we cannot tell what will happen in the next few minutes, the next an hour. Somebody will tell you that to access that jerrycan of oxygen, you need 3 million shillings. So, do you have an emergency fund? Even as you spend right now, the money that you have, before even you spend most of it, can you set aside an amount of money? It could be 1 million shilling, it could be 2 million, and just don't touch it. That is off your budget. It's off that money that you budget for your day-to-day expenditure. Now, that money, you're leaving it aside just in case of anything. And you should make sure that that money is only touched at the point in time when there is an emergency. So you set it aside, you put it somewhere. Of course, it needs to be in a point in time where you can access it, because if you get a challenge, let's say late in the night, and you need this money to go to the hospital, and you reach the hospital, and the hospital is saying you need to deposit given amount of money before they can actually work on you, what can you really do about it? So we need to embrace the aspect of building an emergency fund. The emergency fund should not only be doing for this period, but it should be something continuous that we should continue to embrace even as we continue to proceed. So it is very important for you as well to have that in mind. And then, of course, the other that I also want to talk about is the aspect of use this time to learn more about money, financial literacy. Just like the way you're watching this kind of webinar, you need to learn more about money because money has become a big issue. Money has become a big factor in our lives. It's that money that can help us drive that big car, be able to eat, be able to drink, be able to access medical care, be able to start a business, be able to do several kind of things. So see how you can learn about debt management, learn about savings, learn about taxes, learn about how you can prepare for retirement, learn about how you can prepare for investment. Which investments options are you taking on? Aspects of salary, how can you work around to grow your salary? Aspect of mortgage, insurance, budgeting. Understand how all these play. At the end of the day, they will really help you in the future. They will really help you to get much better in everything that you do. So I hope you get something from this presentation. And if you really got something, please, I will request you to share, maybe your timeline, share with your friends. Let's continue to see how we can help each other, especially in this crisis, because we are family as always. So thank you so much. My name is Samuel Ibanda. I'm your inspirational coach here to always share with you information of how you can improve areas of your personal finance, areas of your business, areas of your career, and in general life. So thank you so much, and like my page, follow me on social media. You can also find me on YouTube and find me in different platforms, and let's interact. You can also leave for me a comment, any questions that you might have. I'll be able to answer some of those questions. So thank you so much, and God bless you.